In less than 2 weeks, folks, electricity bills going through the roof, Trump celebrates victory. Do any of you guys sense a lack of urgency from our lawmakers regarding the protection of programs like Social Security, SSI, and SSDI? Do any of you think that they have our best interests at heart with a clear intent to provide steady cash flow so that retirees don't have to worry about different expenses that they face each and every single day? Well, depending on your answer, you may or may not like the new proposals that are being pushed out to Congress when it comes to Social Security, with the main one being that both parties just can't seem to see eye to eye. So here's what Representative Tom Cole had to say about it recently.
Just want to state for the record, I certainly have no objection to defending Social Security and Medicare. As a matter of fact, for I think 6 Congresses in a row, I have introduced legislation. It was originally drawn up with my good friend John Delaney, former Democratic member, on doing just that, on trying to save Social Security. And what we proposed is what we did back in 1983 that actually worked, extended the life of Social Security for almost half a century, which would be to actually, let's do a commission, let's make a set of reasonable reforms. I would put revenue on the table, personally. I think that has to be part of it. It certainly was then. But again, my friends haven't been very serious about reforming Social Security, in my view. And to be fair, I don't think anybody has been. We've been trying to get people to look at this problem for a long time. I would invite my friend from New York or any of my Democratic colleagues to look at what we've proposed. Again, proposed originally with a Democratic co-sponsor, and think, because it's the only way we're going to get there. It's going to have to be a bipartisan sort of deal. That's what Ronald Reagan, Tip O'Neill, and Howard Baker did back in that time frame. We should do the same thing. So to say we're not interested in Medicare or Social Security is just simply wrong.
Do you guys think that they would work together for the American people? And 6 Congresses with no progress? Wow, that is a long time. He should probably talk with Connecticut Congressman John Larson, as about 708,000 people in his area receive on these benefits, approximately 20% of the state's population. Now, I really don't think any lawmaker would want to make that many people upset. So anyway, Larson on his end has also reintroduced legislation for Social Security, one that would increase benefits by 2%. Yeah, I know, 2%. But this would actually help with the solvency issue by pushing higher income earners to contribute more of their payroll taxes, and to also boost the cost of living adjustment to the CPIE, which better reflects inflation. Now, Larson also said that the president can't do anything about this. The one body in government, and in fact the entire United States, that can move to help those on Social Security is Congress, and it's Congress alone. Well, if they knew that long ago, then what the heck is holding these people back? Is it because both parties are just being difficult? So here's my take on this, guys. What if lawmakers couldn't be reelected if they promised us something and then within their term they make absolutely no progress on it? Or just have them completely removed from office if they go back on their word and actually do the opposite of what they promised in their campaign? Because that's why the majority votes for them, right? It's because of the lies that they told us. Like, why would people vote for someone who's not going to do anything to make their life easier for the American people? Or, and this idea just hit me just now, what if their pay is scaled back to match Social Security payments? Maybe then they would finally do something. But what do you guys think? Now, if you guys have any thoughts on this, please make sure to use the comment section down below. And while you guys are down there, while you're at it, please don't forget to drop a quick like and subscribe to the channel. Now, speaking of doing something, do any of you guys agree that something would have been done by now if the tables were turned and if Donald Trump Jr. was anywhere near the White House when cocaine was found there? He also said that his close friend said that there would be no way that he would have gotten away with it, but he jokingly said that it's lucky that cocaine's just not his thing. Now, keeping on topic, former President Donald Trump's campaign is celebrating a win as a judge has decided to set his Mar-a-Lago classified documents case trial date out for May of next year, which is months after the date that prosecutors had initially requested.
Major breaking news in the classified documents case against Donald Trump. A trial date has now been set. The stage now set for federal court appearances as he runs for the White House. CNN senior legal affairs correspondent Paula Reed joins us now. So, Paula, this is certainly not the trial date that the special counsel's office was hoping for. What more can you tell us?
Well, at least it's a trial date, because defense attorneys had argued that it was too soon to even put a date on the calendar. For how the central tension in this case right now, the central conflict between the defense attorneys and prosecutors, is over timing. Prosecutors, including Jack Smith, have said they want a, quote, speedy trial, which is why they wanted to take this case before jury in December. But defense attorneys argued in court Tuesday before this same judge that it would be, quote, unfair to put the former president on trial at any time before the 2024 election. So here, the judge split the difference. She put a trial date on the calendar for the middle of May 2024.
A spokesperson for Trump said that this is a setback for the weaponized DOJ and even proclaimed that the former president will eventually win back the White House for the American people. You guys think Trump's going to take this one? But you got to think, has the perception of the American people changed when it comes to Trump? Well, as it turns out, despite his many legal challenges, it hasn't changed very much. A study from the Pew Research Center shows that a poll which was taken from July of last year is almost identical to the results from a poll that was taken just recently. So what do you guys think this means? Are people just not that interested in Trump's many legal problems? Now, on that note, Texas Governor Greg Abbott may be in trouble as well as the Biden administration, as he has just threatened him with legal actions if he doesn't remove the floating barriers in the Rio Grande, which were placed in hopes of discouraging migrants and entering the country. Now, according to them, the buoys are a violation of federal law and it raises a huge humanitarian concern. Abbott, though, argues that they have the right to defend our borders and that he sent numerous letters to the Biden administration about their authority, which also includes one that he hand-delivered to President Biden himself earlier this year.
The Department of Justice is threatening to sue Texas over the floating border barrier in the Rio Grande River. Governor Greg Abbott says his office was sent a letter today saying the DOJ plans to sue. Democrats have pressured President Biden and his administration to take legal action against the state after Abbott announced the floating barriers. This week, the president of Mexico called the barriers and razor wire propaganda for photos. Governor Abbott took to Twitter saying Texas has the sovereign authority to defend the border under the U.S. and Texas Constitution.
I strongly suspect the leadership of the national immigration organizations believe that they need to intervene in this situation and get this stopped to restore federal control over these areas. So I expect a lawsuit to come in the relatively near future if the state government doesn't change.
Now, many Democrats, though, they're crying out loud about this as being dangerous and cruel and that the president has to assert his authority over the borders. But what do you guys make of this? Should Abbott remove these barriers or should the federal government intervene and let their policy take over? Now, if anything should be done to protect Americans, I believe protecting us from high costs of living that are way above our pay grade should be the #1 priority. Were you guys aware about what's happening over in New York? Well, residents should see their Con Edison gas and electricity bill go up by more than double in the next 2 years, as a rate hike was just approved. And if you thought that was bad news, New Yorkers could see rates go up by as much as 9% as early as August. And so that means that the average customer will be paying at least $14 more a month. More hikes are also expected as soon as January next year and January 2025. This is likely going to have people paying at least $10 more on their monthly electricity bills. Anybody here from New York? What are your thoughts on this? Does this sound like a fair rate hike to you? Now, before I go, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Also, if you made this far in the video, please drop a quick like. Also consider subscribing, and I will see you guys on the next one.